video. So today I will continue with more focus on speaking skills. Unit 1, let's check. Full blast form 4. So as the people who are new here, I am teacher Musna, as you may see in the slides right now. I will be teaching Form 4 students. I hope that this video will help you to actually give like how can I say that an idea for you to use for your class, or maybe the student here who's watching this right now. Maybe you can learn this. You can watch this video before you start your class, and so you know what you should do in your class. Okay, so shall we start? Okay, as usual, so what we are going to learn today, the first one is I want them, because they have speaking skills, so of course I want them to be familiar to answer question based on the picture shown. So I will be show a number of pictures, so I want them to actually answer the question that I will ask them. And then number two is we will do a discussion in group regarding the activity in textbook. I will show you later on. It's the same thing as which we see in the first activity here, but I also want them to actually come up with a new activity so that they could know more variety of activity that they could do. And then for the third one is present their work in the classroom. So because it's speaking skills, speaking presentations, I want them to actually speak and present what they have discussed uh, rather than just discussion, because I could not know what they discuss because this is among the group. So I want them to actually present the work in the classroom so that everyone in the classmate, that every classmate could understand what they discuss and they can share with everyone. So then it can train them to actually speak in the classroom and be able to speak more confidently. Okay. Next, we will do the pre-lesson. Of course, we will do the pre-lesson because we want to actually brainstorming them before they start with the class, because we don't want to like just start uh, just start with the class and then they were like, what is this? What is this? So we want to actually train them to actually use English words so that they could know before, because we cannot know what the class before them. It can be Bahasa Melayu, it can be any other subject. So this is the opening for them to like be in English class. So we have to be able to like remember this is in English class. So they have to speak in English. They have to start with using English words. So the first thing is I do the pricing using the education sites where I want them to actually, this is the call of the game is game of bones, commonly confused with. I will show you later on how to do this. So let's go to the tab of what I'm going to teach you here for the free lesson. Okay, so this is the game that I mentioned before. I will put the link in the description box below just in case you want to know where I get the link of the game, and then you could use them in your class. So this is the called online game by the education where you can use them for the education purpose. Okay, so this is just a very simple game, just like train them to like remember what they have learned and remember the words that they have learned. Okay, so I will put the link in the description box below so you can put them. There's a lot of grade here, as you can see here. Here is focusing on the eighth grade. You can choose any grade that you are teaching, because we have this website actually have a lot of grade that you can use just for the pre-lesson for your class, or maybe you can do for the exercise just to train them. And then subject, we have a lot of subject in this how can I say, this website. I'm not a sponsor or anything, it's just I want to share with you, with all the students that out there, and with all the teacher, what you can do, what you can use in the class. Okay, so here we are actually focusing on the reading and writing, and then also grammar, and then language and vocabulary. This is what we are pointed to do, because I don't want to be a very hard for them to do the pre-lesson, because I want them to actually learn something even though it's very simple. Okay, I will show you how to play them. So first, just in, loading for a while.
The night is dark and full of errors. Help Floyd Snow complete his wall before the sun sets. Choose the word that best completes the sentence. I called ahead to that the restaurant has a table for our group.
Okay, so what they have to do, this is very good game because I'll let you an example. If you go your mouth to the word,
I called ahead to that the restaurant has a table for our group.
so when you put you, don't know what you have to put. So what you
Ensure.
have to do is actually have to put it here.
I called ahead to ensure that the restaurant has a table for our group.
If it's wrong, then you go at that. But you can choose another answer. What you have to do is actually ask your student to actually what do you think the answer for this one. And you can ask them to actually read the full sentence rather than asking this game actually. Because this game also will we have the voice of the game. But you can also ask the student to read them back. Just you want to train them to speak, you want to train them how to read. So yeah. So you put
Ensure.
here.
I called ahead to ensure that the restaurant has a table for our group. I
So
take
that
a
is
stroll
when it's correct, then we'll
to
go to
enjoy
the
some
next
fresh
one.
air.
So this is the next one. So you can see here. So you can ask this, which one is the correct one? Is it every day can be in the one words or it have to be in two words? So you can ask your student to answer this.
Every
Just
day, I
like
take a
give
stroll
the
every day to enjoy some fresh
example
air.
here. So it's not the answer.
Every day,
So
I
that is
take a
why
stroll
we do this
every
activity
day
because
to
we want
enjoy
them
some
to
fresh
actually
air.
train to
My
know how to
dog
spell each word.
on his back in the sun.
Just not. People got confused with those two words, lies and lays. Okay.
Lays. My
So I'm
dog
just going to show you the
lays
example if
on
you
his
get it
back in
wrong
the
and you
sun.
get it right. Okay, so you see here, that is a wrong one. You know why? Because when we want to put for a singular, we have to put the s. You cannot just put s here. You have to change the word before that.
Lies. My dog
Okay, you have to remember because
lies
I
on
believe we
his
already
back in the
learned this.
sun.
If you teaching from
The
four
airline
students,
agreed to
so yeah,
the
this one.
cancellation fee.
The sound can be similar wave and wave. So which one do you think? That is why while you are doing this pre-lesson, you can also if they do not know the answer, you can help them by describing each of the meaning of each word. Yeah.
Waive. The airline agreed to waive the cancellation
If
fee.
you don't want
Dion took her
explain to
argument one
me,
step by giving an example.
what you can do is actually you can ask them. What is wave? The meaning of wave. Okay, what is the meaning of further and farther? Which one is the correct one?
Further,
Because people
Dion
get
took
very
her argument
confused with
one
this.
step
I believe that
further
people
by
getting
giving
confused
an
with all
example.
these words. So you got it.
Floyd Snow
It's
can sleep
only
well
like
tonight.
five to six
You're
there.
getting there. Learn on.
So if it play if like your student is very advanced students, they know a lot of words. You can move on to the next game, or you can just start with the lesson. Okay, so that is for the game. For the pre-lesson, I'll use this game for my pre-lesson. So we can get back to what we are going to learn. The focus is on today class. So now we focus on what we are going to learn today. So the first activity that I would do to my students, you can look. I just mentioned it before we start the class. Like maybe you can put it back in the early of this video, so you can know what we're going to do. So for the first one is we doing an answer questions. So I'll give a picture here just for them to know what we are going to talk about. So what this is the Q&A session. So the first question is how would you describe this activity show? So you can see here there's four activities here. So I want my students to actually what can you describe by this activity? What do you understand about these activities that will be shown here? And then the second question is which activity is better for groups and which for individuals. So they can give their own answer. They can, they can think of something that suitable for each of the activity. And then for the third question is, are any of these activities popular with people your age? So you can use this. You can ask this. And another one is for number four. Do you do any of these activities? Why and why not? Then which activities would you like to take up? So this actually we want them to actually be able to speak, be able to listen to the question, and then they can answer the question correctly. Or if you don't have, for me, I don't train my students to speak in a very good how can I say a good answer? I'm not saying good answer, like a good proper sentence. I just want them to actually be able to talk and they know the meaning of the context here, understanding the question here. So that is what I want them to really understand about this activity one. So they'll be able to like listen to the question and then they could answer the question because I believe that when they understand the question, they'll be able to answer it well. Even though it's not in the correct sentence of word, but they could answer it. That is all the matter. If they know the answer, they know how to answer, they know how to how to engage with the question that are been listed here. Okay, so that is the first activity. It's very simple, just like to open up about this kind of activities while we are going to talk for overall of this today's class. So yeah, this is a Q&A session. So the answer that are given by your students, rather than you just listen to them, or what you can do is after the end of the lesson, after the end of what they have answered, you can actually help them to correct some words, correct some a proper sentence. So that is the chance for them to actually, oh, this is the correct sentence. So that is really important because that is what we are going to do when we, as a teacher, we want to tell them to encourage them to speak more. Okay, it's not. Please, I'm not suggesting you to actually uh, directly interrupt them in the middle of their talk and just like to correct them. I think, but depends on how you teach them. But I believe if you do it like that, it can bring the confidence down by your students. So rather than that, maybe you can, just after they finish their talk, you can start to correct them, or maybe after all of their own talk, you can start to correct them, whatever you want, but not to interrupt them because when you interrupt them, it can actually, how can I say, they can actually stuck on what they're going to say afterwards after you cut them in the middle of the sentence that they already prepared in their mind to speak about. Okay, so yeah, it's important for you as a teacher. Yeah, so that is for the Q&A session. And then for the activity two, we're going to do a discussion. So what I want my students to do is actually form a group of five, depending on how many students you have. But I love them to work in group because when they work in group, they could understand, they could discuss with the group member. That is really important for them to actually try to be familiar to be in a group of people. After they form a group of five, so they have to choose any activities that they wish to do. So as for me, I have 25 students. So if I form a group of five, so I will be having a five groups. So I'll be having a five different activities. So that is the point. They cannot be the same activities. They have to choose a different activities, so that is really important. You can tell them to your students. You can try to come up with a very good activity, or maybe as a teacher, you can give example of activities that they could choose, depending on what style are you teaching. Okay, and then what I do next, rather than them having their own slides, so what I want them to do is actually I will create them a Google slide, and then I will give them the link of the Google Slides, so that they could do all of them in the Google Slides. So it will help them. Even though I know they are very creative to use Canva in either option, but I want to see the progress of what they are working on in a Google Slide that be prepared by me. And then I encourage them to actually tell each of the member to come up with one point. It doesn't have to be a very mm, a full sentence. It just have to come because when we talk about doing a slide, we have to put the point there. We're not putting the complete sentence because what is the main purpose of you presenting if you put a full sentence in your slides? And yeah, So they have to come up, each of them, and they have to come up with the 1 point, 1 point only, because I want them to actually all of them participating in this group discussion rather than only just one person who will put a lot of idea in the this group discussion and this Google Slides. So that is the second activity. So what they can do is actually what they can be put in the slides. I will give them this word list, just for them to like, they can use this word to maybe to make it more beautiful in the Google Slides. They can use this to like get an idea what they have to put in the Google Slides. So this is the word list that you can use in the Google Slides just to give them some idea what they should put in the Google Slides. Okay, so this is really important. When you ask a student to do something, you have to give a guide for them because they're still a students. They need a guidance, which guidance from us. To you don't have to like give like uh, the 100% from you. Just put in the word list, and then they have to come up. They have to search for the facts about the activities that I have chosen. Okay, just put a word list. Just put a point, just to guide them to so that they could know what they should put in the slide. Okay, so that is activity two. So next, we are going to move on to activity three, which is what I want them to do is actually very simple, which is a presentation part, which I train them to speak. So what they have to do, the rules of presentation is briefly elaborate what you have discussed. Sorry for the error there. There's two you, which is only one you. So they have to discuss what they have to put it in the Google Slides, so that they could actually present. I want them to actually present what they have gotten the information about the activities that I have chosen. So and then each of the member have to elaborate on point in the slide. As I mentioned before, for them to do the slides, one member have to come up with 1 point. So so each of them have to elaborate their own point rather than just one person. If you cannot open the mic, you have to actually guide your friends on how to present, or maybe you can put your explanation in the Google chat box, or you can put in the Google Slides just to just I know that you are doing your work rather than all of your only your other member are doing the work. So that is really important for my students because it is speaking. When you do a very online class, you cannot expect everyone to participating in this speaking or any other activity. But if it was in your classroom, like in actual class, it's not a PDPR anymore. You can ask them to actually present their own points by using, like maybe you can use a Manila card, but since they cannot move around, they can just sit on the seat and just present what they understand. So they can pass on the Manila card, or they can pass on the card, the mahjong paper, and any kind of materials that you would like to use. And that I also give them tips which I want them to actually speak confidently. It doesn't matter if they are wrong or they are right because everyone make a mistake. So when you make a mistake and then at the end of the class I correct them, so it's actually help them to actually improve themselves on making a very good or proper on presenting something because this is the main thing. And then if my student be able to correct their own classmate, it would be very good. But if the classmate is not correcting them, I will try my best to correct them in any ways. And then they can actually use uh, anything that will help them to actually present. They don't have to use a very extravagant words. They have to use only a simple word just for them to to use that. So for the exercise, after they're done with the presentation and all the exercise, what I want them to do is actually, oh hold on, I have to move my face down here. Okay, so so this is the exercise. So they have to write a short description explaining what they learned, what you learned today. So briefly elaborate what you learned on what you learned. So they have to put they have to write actually because I want them to write, or maybe if you because this is a speaking class, you can ask them to actually speak only like what you learn for this class, or if like your students could not speak or could not open the mic, what you can do is actually you ask them to send a video to you through any platform like a Padlet. You can prepare a Padlet, you can prepare like a Google, no, a Google Drive, something like that, just to ensure that every of your students are participating and understand what we are learning today, because it is important. You have to actually know that what your student understand, what your student do not understand. Because when they're presenting, they have to listen what their friend thoughts, what their friend shared, so that you can know that they are focusing on the class, focusing on their classmate presentation. Okay, so that is the exercise, and then summary of today's class is actually. Uh, I want my students, as I mentioned before, I want my students to speak more comfortably rather than they have to focus on the grammar. You know, it is important for you to know the grammar in a proper grammar, but since they are still in the state of learning, so I want them to actually be able to speak and be able to use the technology nowadays, which is the Google Slides, because I want them to expose with all the technology nowadays, because I believe that they know about this, so I want them to be able to like getting used to it, and then when we talk about activities, the previous activities that I showed you before, the activities can be very dangerous for certain people when you get scared of height and any other stuff. You are not very good at this something something. So actually, I want to encourage them to try it before you say that, because when you try it, you know whether you are okay with it, or maybe you can fight with your weaknesses, which is the high, or if not, it's okay. It's just like we have a lot of activities we can do in your life. Just don't focus on activity that your friends can do and you cannot do, because we have a lot of activities that you can participate in on doing them. So that is summary of today's class, and thank you so much for watching this video. I will be posting for the next video for the next week. So thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe and like my video, my channel, and I hope to see you very soon. Thank you. See you next time.